Assalamualaikum, bonjour, hola, hey y'all, hello, I am Miss Anis. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm glad that you're here watching this video from eTuisyen to learn on for today's objective, which is how to write your essay and how to start it with a good introduction, and then you have to conclude it with a good conclusion. So that's the two main objectives that you will learn in this video. In my another video, you will learn how to elaborate your points and then come up with a proper body of your essay. But for this one, we're gonna learn how to write only for your introduction and your conclusion. Alright, let's get started. So, as you can see on the whiteboard there, for a proper essay outline, you will start with a good introduction, and then afterwards you'll follow with the body, which have like 2 to 3 paragraphs, depending on how many points you want to put inside your essay, and then you conclude it with a good conclusion. Alright, so what does he mean by good introduction and good conclusion? Remember, that's the objective for today, not on the body. The body is in another video. So, what does it mean by writing a good introduction and good conclusion? Alright, so what it means is actually it has to be brief. Then it also have to be eye-catching. Alright, so let me just highlight it here. This is what we're going to do today. Introduction and conclusion, and both of them have to be brief and eye-catching. Now, why do you need to have it brief and eye-catching? So imagine that you have a book or a storybook or a novel or probably a magazine, right? And then you, when you have it and you were trying to write your the writings on it, imagine it's so long. It's like half of the page is just one paragraph of introduction. Would you really gonna go through it? If I were you, I would. So it has to be brief. Now, say for example, you're looking at the introduction of, let's say, the pandemic right now, it's about COVID-19, right? So you were writing it. So COVID-19, say for example, the introduction started with COVID-19 is a virus pandemic that has started at the end of November, at the end of 2019 and has blah 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 blah. So it's so bland. So that's why if say that essay was started, COVID-19 has killed so many people within a few months. Would you want to read that essay because it's so eye-catching? So yeah, so that's why it has to be brief and it also has to be eye-catching for the introduction. Now, why do you have to have a good conclusion? Because say for example, you have started with a good one. Yeah, you kickstart your essay with a good introduction. People, okay, I am so excited. I really want to read this essay because it's so interesting, and then I can gain a lot of knowledge. So you read the introduction, and then you read the body, right? You read the body, and then you're like, oh, okay, I learned this one. Okay, so this is point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, where's the conclusion? So that's why you need to conclude it, alright? So you have to be really clear that, okay, I'm concluding, this is what I'm sharing, and then I hope that this is, so you are clear of what I'm gonna share to you through this essay. So as simple as that, right? So that's why it has to be also brief. And then, so that I will share with you in this video a few examples on how to, ways how to conclude it. Alright, so that's the reason why it has to be brief and eye-catching. Wow, so long. Alright, now, okay, before we go for both of them, so I'll start with the introduction first. So there's a few ways actually how can you start your introduction. As you can see on my left side, let me just move it. Alright, so ways to start your essay. So I have here 5 ways actually that I would like to suggest for you to use on how to start your introduction. Okay, right. So the first one is using an anecdote. It's not an antidote that's usually that we take if we are consume poison, but an anecdote. Now, if you don't understand what does it mean, so you have to do your homework, which is look it up on dictionary. Okay, so supposedly if say that English is not something that you quite fluent and then you really want to gain more vocabs, my tips to you is make your dictionary as your best friend. Because technically, back when I was learning English, my best friend was my dictionary. And then it will really help you to understand the words and then give you some examples actually on how to use the word in a proper sentence. And also, it will really help you to increase your vocabulary. Okay, so don't be afraid. It doesn't mean that for you to make your dictionary as your best friend in English makes you a nerd. No, it's really gonna help you because, well, technically to learn or to gain new knowledge, you have to read. You're not gonna run away from it. There's no other solution. All right, so yes, so look it up to what does it mean, but I'll just give you a discount now. Okay, I'll give you a discount. Anecdote meaning you start up with a short story or personal story of yours. Okay, so maybe it can be a true story or it can be a fiction, but usually it's a true story because it's close to your heart. Okay, so that's what it means by anecdote. Then second one is using dialogue. Say for example, there's a question that is asking you on to describe a road accident that you saw. So say for example, the introduction is mom. Say for example, mom shouted at dad, "Watch out!" Sorry, I can't come up with a name. Okay, let's say for example, my brother's name, Azim. Okay, so say for example, mom shouted at dad, "Watch out, Hazim!" So that's a dialogue. So that's how as simple as that to start your introduction. All right, and then the third way is actually using startling facts. Now, if you don't understand what does it mean by that, go up and look it up on dictionary, please. But the thing is, okay, I'll just give you a discount. Startling facts meaning something that is interesting or amazing, like it's out of the world. Like, is it real? But it's so because it's a fact, so you have to write something that is true. You might not put any like false ones, but if say you don't know, so don't use that way. You have another 4 more ways how to start your essay. So how to gain more knowledge on this? Read. You have to read, okay? Then the fourth way is using questions. So how do you do this? Say for example, let's say we talk about recycling. Okay, say for example recycling. Did you say for example you're studying an essay that is asking you how to write about recycling papers. All right, so or recycling plastics. So say for example, did you know if you recycle paper that you've used that you've used to write your essays, the papers that you use in your textbooks, you are actually saving thousands of trees from being cut down, Yes. See? So that's how you start an essay. You use a question. And then, last but not least, using a definition. Say, for example, we're touching on recycling. What does it mean by recycling? So, do you define what is recycling? Recycling is reuse or reprocess the paper and make it into a new form of usage or a new form of product. Say for example, you can make baskets or bags out of bags. Yes, out of bags. And I was like, do we have any recycled paper bags that are made out of paper? Yes, we do. So that's another way for you to start your essay. Okay, so for today, oh yeah, before I move on, if you notice, right, I put it in a, what's the word again? In order here. Usually if the question is asking you on to write a story or like description of an event that has happened so most event that has happened or describing your feelings, right? Usually using an anecdote and dialogue, it's a good way to start that kind of essay. Now, if you were asked, or the question is asking you on how to write like a general topic, like the example that I used just now, recycling, or how to save time, ways to manage your time properly, or how to save money, those kind of like really general topics. It's good to use starting facts, questions, or definition because it gives like a formal kind of vibe. And then the first two, anecdote and dialogue, it gives like an informal ones. Okay, so for today, what I am gonna focus on is actually using an anecdote and also using a definition. So these are the two examples that I'll be clarify a bit more later, but if you want to know more, do let me know in the comments. Probably I'll make another video, but it's up to you. If you want it, I'll make it. If not, we move on. Okay? Alright, let's get started on the two ones, using an anecdote and using a definition. Okay, so earlier I've shared with you 5 ways on how to start your introduction, right? The first one is using an anecdote, second one is using dialogue, and then the third one is using startling facts. Fourth one using questions, and then the last one using definition. And so for today, in this video, I'll be focusing on 2 out of those 5, which is one is using an anecdote and another one is using a definition, as you can see on the whiteboard. Right, so the first one is using an anecdote. So as I mentioned, it's actually like starting with a short story or like a personal story. Usually it's true, but you can also make it up. Alright, so in this example, I forgot to put the topic. Right, so the topic for this introduction is on cyber cafe addiction. Alright, so I'll go through with you the introduction. So this introduction is on cyber cafe addiction. So how it started? It started quite innocently. Jerry went to the cyber cafe one day to do some research for his school project. Once there, he was introduced to the world of online games and then began addicted to it. So his routine gradually changed and he no longer focused in his studies. So as you can see, it started how this introduction started is by using a story about Jerry, okay, who went to the cyber cafe, and then because when he went there, he was introduced to the world of online games. As you can, I have to be honest with you, I'm also back in the days when I was studying, I was also guilty of addicted actually online games. I do play Mobile Legends, I do play Worlds of Warcraft, all those kind of play. But yeah, so I do play. But I learned my lesson, and then now I know how to manage my time. And then so because Jerry was introduced, he became addicted, and then he did not manage it. His routine gradually changed, and he no longer focused because he kept on playing online games. So as you can see, it's just like how many? 1, 2, 3 sentences. It can be shorter actually if you want to, which is better. Keep it brief, and then as clear that while reading this introduction, you know that it's talking about cyber cafe. Right, and then he is addicted to it because he was introduced to the online games. So other than making it brief and eye-catching, right? Because it's a story, right? You also be clear of what you are trying to relay to your readers, right? So if your topic is on cyber cafe, or if your topic is like the second example is on recycling, you have to be clear that your essay is about those topics. Okay, because if you're if the question is asking you to write, say for example, on traveling or on farming, this does not have anything to do with that. So you make sure you read your question, understand what it wants, and then plan your essay, and then start with a good introduction. Like it's this one. So this is more if you're making like a story, okay, right? Anecdote. Now the second option, the second way. Let me just move it here. Using a definition, okay? Sorry, I forgot to write the topic again. So for this topic, for this introduction, the topic is on recycling. So earlier I think I shared like recycling is like reusing something. Sorry, that's my bad. It's not about that. Recycling, as you can see here, the definition is recycling is a process whereby waste products, such as the examples, are broken down and made into new products. Reuse is using it for a new purpose. If you make it into a new product, that's recycling. I'm sorry, I am being corrected here. Okay, so as you can see here, you you have to how does this this introduction I started is using a definition. So the definition is on the recycling. Okay, so recycling is a process whereby waste products such as glass, paper and plastics are broken down and made into new products. Okay, now don't leave it hanging just like that. Don't just stop with your introduction just by a definition and then you move to the next body of your next paragraph, because so what are you talking about? Like what is it just is this what you want to put in your introduction? So you have to put another sentence. So like for this one, in our country recycling is not a new thing, but we have a long way to go to make it a common practice. Meaning, so okay, so if I read this introduction, it means that I'm gonna learn about recycling and I'm gonna learn how to make recycling a common thing for us. How can we practice more on recycling? How to make it more popular for our country? See? So that's why, other than you started with the definition, you also have to put another sentence to like define or to introduce the objective of your essay. Why are you writing it for? Okay, so for this one the topic is on recycling. Okay, so we know now how to write your introduction using an anecdote and also how to using a definition. So the next part is how to write your good conclusion. Okay, all right, let's get started. All right, so earlier we have learned on how to start your introduction with some ways, and then I focused on how to use anecdote and also using a definition to start your introduction. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one, which is ways to write good conclusion. Okay, right, good conclusion. So some of the ways that I would suggest is using these 4 ways. Alright, the first one is summarize your main points. So macam like in your essay, right, kalau dah macam ada 3 or 3 to 4 or 5 points, right, so in your conclusion ulang balik. You just remind them, okay, so from this essay I've shared with you the first point, second point, and then if you furthermore the third point, the fourth point, the third point, the fourth point, so and then I hope this is clear to you, something like that. So you summarize your main points. Wait, that's like writing everything. Okay, sorry. Say for example you have 5 points, you choose 3, something like that. Don't put everything because that's too much and then your conclusion will get longer. Remember, your conclusion is also have to be brief. Okay, you have to indicate, okay, this is ending now. Alright, so the second way is call for action. So say for example you put some action item you give an example for the reader needs to do something on their end. Say for example, right, if I were to write essay ways to be better in English, right? So first you have to read more books, read more articles, and then second you have to practice them, you have to apply what have you learned, and then third, do some exercise. You do need to write write some essays, because you can also learn, you can also read, but the thing is you have to put them on paper so that you are used to that process of getting out the ideas outside and put them into a sentence, right? And then so I hope that after, so with these tips, you do your part, which is you have to practice, because practice makes perfect. See, I ask, so that's the call for action. I'm calling you to practice it. Okay, and that, or probably another action is you allocate some time so that you are able to practice it outside this video. Okay, so that's like call for action. Alright, you give an action, you are asking the reader to do something, or not, if not the reader directly, someone who's responsible to do something about it. Say for example, right, like today's case, which is about the contaminated river, right? So sungai-sungai contaminated ni kan, so government kena cari orang-orang ni supaya tidak berulang lagi. They have to find this culprit, right? So to stop it. So that's an action for the government to do something about it. So something like that. Okay. Then the third one is express your hope. So this is as simple as I hope. Okay. To start your sentence, I hope that by reading this essay, this is what you have learned. So, or probably say for example, I hope in 3 years time you are able to write English with a good introduction and conclusion, so that you are able to submit your thesis and get an A+. Amen. Alright, something like that. So you express your hope. I hope, we hope. Yeah, the hope word is important. If you don't put that, it doesn't mean that you are expressing your hope. Okay, and then the last one is end with a moral value. So, say for example, if the story or if the essay that you're writing have something that you want the reader or or the character in the story learn something about it, you put a moral value, something lesson learned. I guess that's the example that I'll be sharing with you in a moment. So you something that you want the reader to take away with the lesson out of the story or out of the essay that the article that you are writing. Okay, so in this example for conclusion, I'll be focused on one, which is expressing and with a moral value. Okay, so let me scoot over a bit so that you can see. So in this and writing your good conclusion, right, what I'm going to focus is how you're going to end it with a moral value. So as you can see, the topic is my favorite TV program. Now I think this is very hot right now because we are now dekat dalam CMCO kan, kita stuck in the house, kita sepatutnya should not be outside because this is how we're going to stop our COVID-19 problem here. We don't want you or especially the students to get infected. You have to stay healthy so that you are able to learn and also have to able to take your exam, especially the SPM student. Okay, I know PT3 got cancer, so you're not busted still, you're not off the hook. You need to learn because this is your preparation for your Form 4 later. Because this is a good way of how you can end your conclusion as well. Okay, so favorite TV program, yeah, because our TV is our best friend lah, or your phone, I guess, or your or probably YouTube or Netflix. So there's some program that might be your favorite. Now the thing is, this is my favorite TV program. So if you read your question and it's just indicating program, right, favorite TV program, meaning you should be choosing one. Okay, if you cannot choose, probably you have 2 or 3, right? Okay, indicate that in your essay, because I am addicted to TV, watching television, right? I cannot choose, so probably I'm going to talk about 2 of them, something like that, because if you really cannot choose, right? But if the question is asking you to write about one TV program, stick to one. Okay, now this one is one favorite TV program. Okay, so you in this way is ending with the moral value. So the example is saying here, so it ends like this: it is a touching and heartwarming TV program and I will not hesitate to recommend it to others. Now I need to make a disclaimer here. So if you can see, so as you can see here, there's a TV program here, right? This TV, if you have not define it at the beginning, right, because this is a short form, if you have not defined it at the beginning, like what's a TV, because at the beginning, I'm assuming at the beginning of this essay, TV is television, so I write television and then in a bracket TV. Then afterwards, throughout your essay, you can write it TV as in with the T and the V. If you have not defined it at the beginning, kalau you tak awal-awal dah bagi tahu kalau short form TV, television, nanti boleh dapat salah because it's short form. Okay, it's better for you to write it the whole word, which is television. Okay, but this one I'm assuming that at the beginning of this essay, I have defined kalau short form TV ni is television, so television, and then in the bracket next to it TV. Okay, so yeah, continue to the others. So this will give them a chance to savor amazing moments and appreciate the one and only world we live in. Okay, so the moral value is, if say they watch this TV program, they will learn to appreciate the only and one world that we live in, right? Unless I don't know if there's some religion or some belief that you can be reborn into another world. I don't know, but so because we are now here, we have to appreciate and really love the world that we live in right now. Enjoy the moment now. Okay, so yeah, so that's the moral value. Okay, that's the moral value out of this conclusion. So which means actually there's two, right? Two moral value, because they can able to savor or enjoy amazing moments by watching this television program, and also they are able to appreciate the one and only world we live in. Okay, so actually, so there's a few ways to do this. Moral values, what are the things the way? I think that's about it. Yeah, can't think of anything right now, sorry, but yeah, if you if you need to learn more, do put in the comments, and then I'll try to ask your questions directly to that. Alrighty, we're done. So by now you should be able know to how to write good introduction and also good conclusion. So I think I've shared you 5 ways, right, to write good introduction, which is the fun one. The first one is using anecdote, second one is using a dialogue, and then the third one is using a subtling fact. The fourth one, finally, because there's no, I will confusing between third and fourth. Now the fourth one is using a question, and then the last one is using definition. But in this video, I was focusing on using an anecdote and also using a definition. If you want to know more on the other ways, do put in the comments, and probably I'll give you some examples afterwards, right? And then so that's for good introduction, and then the good conclusion, right? 4 ways, as you can see on the board. First one is summarize your main points. Second one is call for action. Third one is express your hope. Remember, if the hope word is really important, because if you don't put it, we don't know whether you're expressing your hope or not. So I hope, we hope, you hope. Okay, and then the last one is end with a moral value. And then in this video, I was focusing on end with a moral value, right, or lesson learned, so that people know that, okay, from this article, this is what they're going to learn from by reading it. Okay, so what are the things that I need? I think that's it. That's about it. So I thank you so much for sticking on for after what, probably I don't know how long is this video I've been talking to you. Thank you so much for watching this video, for you to learn on how to improve your English writing especially. And then do like and share this video if you feel that this video is helpful, so not only you but your colleagues or your friends are able to benefit from it. And then do subscribe our eTuisyen channel so that you are able to be updated and then get future notifications on new videos, right? And then what other things? Oh yeah, don't forget to visit our website eTuisyen.my so that you get more info. What are the things? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, there's a lot of things I forgot. Okay, so do follow our Instagram eTuisyen.my so that you are able also to see new promotion or get new, actually we do some fun videos actually on that Instagram. To be honest with you, it's really funny. Some of them, yeah, actually all of them is fun. So because technically learning something new should be something fun for you. I think that's about it from me. Okay, see you when I see you. Annyeong. Bye bye.